Welcome to the Pulse with Peter or me. I'm your host, Peter Biancamano. Let's get you to the pulse on everything you need to know. And today's show is brought to you by the Pilsner House and Beer Garden, located at 1422 Grand Street. You're going to want to go over there because we were there last week, as you know, where the person to my right was enjoying herself greatly over there. She was just telling me how banging that chicken sandwich was.
I used that exact word. I think I put an effort in front of it as well, but we can't say that on TV.
We cannot, unless we want to let Greg, bleep it. But of course, the person to my right is Mrs. Daria Peace of At Hoboken Eats. I know, it's so weird. It is so weird right now, Daria. But thank you for coming back again.
Happy
second
to be
week
back.
in a row.
Yeah.
Exactly. This time in studio.
I didn't take his job permanently. I guess that was only for a week.
Sooner than later. Trust me. The reviews were glowing last week when you guest hosted with our man Nick from the Pilsner House. So Daria, one of the things that we've called you since you've been on the Pulse, which is over 3 years now. She's a veteran here. Has been a places insider.
Yes.
And we tend to just stick to local restaurants and so on and so forth. But you certainly have done a lot of traveling.
Yes.
And especially within the last few years. And
Yes.
what better than get out of the house with the whole COVID.
We've gone global. We've gone global.
And we're going to go global here on the show because for the first time ever, and continuing on hopefully in the next few weeks, we're going to be talking about places you visited and some of the cuisine that you had there.
Yes.
And we're going to start. Exactly. We're going to start with Bora Bora. And I have to tell you, my brother went to Bora Bora for his honeymoon. That's exactly what you did this past year. And we put up a poll question earlier this week. Did you see the poll question?
I did, and I voted.
Oh, you finally voted because
I did.
you were the only one
know.
that was been there. I mean, coming into tonight before Daria voted, there was 56 people that voted, and 56 people said they've never been to Bora Bora. So Daria is changing the poll numbers there. What did you love so much about Bora Bora?
I don't even know where to start. Honestly, and I have to, Matt and I, we like to go out. I mean, if you follow me on Instagram, you see that I frequent Green Rock a lot. Like, we like to have a good time. We thought going to Bora Bora was just going to be like off the grid, like nothing there. Everything closes by 9 o'clock. We stayed in one of the little overwater bungalow huts. We thought that it was just going to be like us and no one else. We had so much fun. We ended up making so many friends, and we went to dinner with them all. Like, you're like a little I don't know what it was, but everyone was happy in Bora Bora, and everybody wanted to be friends, and everybody wanted to go to happy hour, and we had so much fun. I don't know if that's my favorite part about Bora Bora, but I have to just say that everyone was so happy in Bora Bora.
Everybody was so happy. French Polynesia, for all you people that are wondering, a long flight, correct?
That's been. I can tell you my least favorite part about Bora Bora, and it was the flights. We did okay, but I will say we did it right. And my recommendation to anybody is you can only leave from the States Tuesday or Thursday from LA or San Francisco. Since it was the beginning of our honeymoon, I was like, I don't want to do a straight shot. We flew to San Francisco. On Monday. We got there Monday morning. We had the day there. We had a nice dinner there. Then on Tuesday afternoon, we left to Bora Bora to fly to Tahiti. Wow. So now we're Tuesday night. We landed in Tahiti Tuesday night. How
long was that flight from San Francisco?
That was 9.
9? That's not too bad.
I didn't love it. Okay. And so then we had a sleepover one night in Tahiti, and then we got to Bora Bora Wednesday morning.
And how long was the flight from Tahiti to Bora Bora?
Like 20 minutes.
20 minutes.
Yeah,
folks.
and it was like beautiful, a little like hopper plane. Like it was
propellers?
Fun. Yeah.
Scary.
It wasn't as bad. It went a little higher than I thought it was gonna. Everyone called it a puddle jumper. I thought that's what it was, but it was okay. Matt got me a strong drink before we left the Tahiti airport because there's no security or anything. It's just like you go right through. It's quick. It probably took door to door like an hour and a half to go on a plane.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, but it was super easy once we were there, and we were there for 9 days.
9 days. And talk about the I guess we should talk about the resort you stayed at first.
The Conrad. Oh man, it was a dream. It was a movie. It wasn't real. It wasn't real life. It was a dream. Bluest waters, the nicest staff, the best tasting food. Our hut was just really cool, and it was huge. And it's like not prime season, so it was dead. It was dead. So like I think that's why we also.
It was February, right?
Yeah, and it's like technically monsoon season. So before we went, we saw every single day was rain.
And by the way, Daria was married during a blizzard, I might add. So good thing that you didn't receive any monsoons while you were
Yeah, the blizzard cooled its jets for the wedding day, and the monsoon stayed away. So a lot of stress leading up.
Great line there.
January before the wedding was really stressful, and it all works out. You gotta trust the process.
It all works out. So no, to me, when you land in an island like Bora Bora in French Polynesia, there's nothing. I mean, there's just beautiful waters. I've never been there. I'm one of those 56 people that voted.
You are.
I've never been there. But, you get there, I'm sure it's a very small airport. You get to the resort and there's nothing around.
Nothing around. You get to the hotel. There's a main Bora Bora island. That's like the mainland. And that is where everybody who works at the resorts lives. It's where the locals live. When we ended up taking a tour on Bora Bora, like a Jeep tour around the island, and our tour guide was like, this is where the police station is, this is where the fire department is, but they're all on vacation this week.
So who's protecting and serving the
island? And
island?
there's no hospital.
Oh my God.
You're literally, Matt and I were like, because he was like, bring your insurance card, because we're going off-roading. He's like, just in case. And then he was like, okay, so you're good.
So the people who live there, if they need a procedure done, do they go to Tahiti?
They flies you to, not to Tahiti, just to the next island.
I see.
Yeah.
I see.
So then around Bora Bora's main island is all of the resort islands. And it's surrounded by like a coral reef. So it's not like a ton of waves, and it's just, I mean, it's the most beautiful waters that I've ever seen in my entire life. And I didn't think that we were going to spend so much time on our resort. We stayed there a lot more than expected. I tried to make a bunch of reservations off the island. We only went off a couple times.
Well, I was going to ask you that. So, of course, you are Hoboken Eats.
And all we did was eat.
All you did was eat.
Eat and drink.
So you did go off the reservation, as they say, the resort. Yes. Did you mainly eat in the resort, or did you go off of the resort to go eat a few times?
Every morning for breakfast, there was a breakfast buffet. I had a croissant and a lot more, but a croissant every day for about 2 weeks. And
one of the most banging croissants.
One of the most banging croissants ever. And it was glorious. Then for lunch, there was, you could either do room service, or there was like a little grill at the resort. Carne asada tacos, chicken tacos, come with the street corn that was 20 out of 10. They had these fried string beans that were just like literally insane. The pizzas, I never thought I was gonna be going to Bora Bora eating pizza, banging. Really, really good. The drinks are just amazing. They had happy hour at 3 o'clock every day. Shout out to the Bora Bora happy hour crew, because it was lit. And then, then for dinner, there was a French restaurant, a Chinese restaurant, and a sushi restaurant.
All in the resort?
All in the resort. We never made it to the French restaurant, but we went to Upa Upa was the sushi lounge, and the tables were over water, had the most beautiful view of sunset. Like,
they probably just get the fish right from
the seafood. I'm like, I don't eat seafood all the time. I love sushi, but eating raw tuna, like just as a snack. Like it was just, the tuna tataki also was delicious. So when we ended up going to the Chinese restaurant like 3 times, and one time we actually had the sushi to start and then went to the Chinese restaurant for dumplings. Like to just talk free for all, just talk about the best. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
All right. So, do you recommend Bora Bora as a honeymoon? Obviously, you have to stay minimum 10 days like you did.
So most people usually island hop. They do 4 days in Bora Bora, 4 days in Moorea, or there's other islands right there. Yeah, they're all very quick to hop around to. We originally were doing that a month before the wedding. I decided to add more stress to the plate, and so I redid the entire itinerary, and we stayed there for the entire time.
Boom!
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Best decision ever. Best decision ever.
Conrad Resort.
Conrad.
Resort,
yes.
Correct? In
Niu,
Bora.
Conrad Niu.
Niu. See, I got that correctly, huh?
Yeah.
All right. Well, this is a fun new segment that we're starting every week. She will be back. Daria will be back, I should say, next week, discussing maybe some places that are a little closer than French Polynesia. You're just going to have to stay tuned and find out. But for all those people that are waiting to go to Bora Bora, Daria says,
go.
Boom.
Now.
Well done. All right. Daria Peace, our Places Insider. Thanks again for coming
Thanks
on.
for
Really
having
appreciate
me.
it. Folks, we will be right back. Peter Biancamano, your hostess with the mostest of the Pulse with Peter B. Folks, Don't forget to go on our Facebook and our Instagram pages by searching The Pulse with Peter B, and like and follow us on each of those platforms. We're constantly updating those pages with previews of each week's segments and cool stories. Also, if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to our email address at thepulsewithpeterb@gmail.com.
Welcome back. I'm your host for this segment with the most, Josh Sotomayor Einstein, and I'm so happy to have with us a very special guest, Oksana Condon, president of Ukrainians in Jersey City, or Ukrainian in Jersey City?
Ukrainian Jersey City.
Ukrainian Jersey City, there, third time's the charm. And I'm so glad that we have you with us today. Why don't you tell us what's going on for the viewers out there, if you live under a rock, what's been going on in Ukraine and what's been going on in Jersey City to support the Ukrainian freedom movement.
Thank you for having me here. This means a lot for us and our community. We've been doing a lot of work here. But as many of you know probably or have heard, the conflict started from Russia attacking, from Putin giving a green light for Russia to attack our peaceful nation. Who wanted nothing to do with Russia, who didn't want it to be a part of Russia. For 8 years, we had conflict going on. We had Crimea was taken away in 2014, and since we had conflict, it was nonstop. The people because I know that a lot of people say that Russian people are brainwashed and stuff, but just a common sense of if people really wanted to be with Russia, they had 8 years to move out.
So when you're talking about the 8 years ago and the Russian invasion of Crimea and also part of the Donbass, Luhansk, and the Donetsk regions where they propped up those independent governments, that was also the year of the Euromaidan revolution. Am I wrong?
Yes, that's correct. That's when everything started, when we had to take down our previous president, who was a pro-Russian president, and who, instead of signing towards the EU, he signed with Russia and gave away our arms and basically left Ukraine with nothing. That's when, yes, the revolution started.
Oh, fascinating. So for viewers out there that may not be aware, because not everybody is a junkie and reading the weird things that I read about what's going on in the world, no blame on anybody for not being interested, but the Euromaidan revolution of 2014 was a people's revolution. It was massive protests of hundreds of thousands of people that wanted a government that wasn't corrupt and that wasn't under control by Putin. And now Putin wants to get Ukraine back under control. So tell us how the Ukrainian community in New Jersey in the tri-state region is feeling right now.
We feel very strong, and we feel the neighborhood coming to help us. We feel the world standing behind us. And it's a wonderful thing. I never thought that I would experience anything like this when we unite and to do this chain of kind of supply going from here through Poland, through various different countries in Europe to Ukraine in order to help our soldiers, help our civilians who became soldiers these days to, to fight this evil invasion, evil war.
Mm-hmm. What sort of efforts, I know you just touched upon it, but the local Ukrainian community in Hudson County, what sort of efforts are they engaging in to help the freedom movement in Ukraine?
So, as you mentioned, I'm a part of Ukrainian Jersey City. I'm a president and co-founder. I'm also a vice president of Ukrainian Women League, which is more than 100 years old organization. I'm also a board of directors at Ukrainian National Home. So from the get-go, we kind of united these organizations and started working together. So we gather supplies in Ukrainian National Home. And with that, we have people like Anna from Alpha Minds who started bringing supplies. We have Martha from Polish Deli and many other people who just started to outreaching to their part of community to see what they can get. And it's been really helpful. We created Amazon lists. both for army and for refugees, and and donation ways to donate towards like helping us gather more stuff. And also these days we also need to pay for transfer. So
well, I remember I went to an event. My friend Natalia Ioffi told me about an event that Ukrainian Jersey City was doing a number of Fridays ago, and then I went to one of the Times Square rallies. And I know there's so much going on in our local Ukrainian community in Hudson County, whether it's the Ukrainian Community Center in Jersey City Heights, or with your organization, or Razom, which is a great organization helping the Ukrainian freedom movement. Are there any events that are coming up that people can help donate or express solidarity with the Ukrainian people?
Yes, we're going to have few events. We're going to have in Jersey City, we're going to have on the 24th in Jersey City Theater Center, 165 Coles. It will be a fundraiser event, and we're expecting about 200 people to come. And the goal is to raise $50,000, and that will be directed towards refugees. Because right now, I mean, I call them refugees. They don't have the status, unfortunately, but they need help. They coming. They don't have anywhere to stay. So now people helping us out and giving us like space for 1 month for people to stay. I just now was with two families, and they came, a family of 4 from Kharkiv with 2 children, 2 young ones, 13 and 9. And we had to get them SIM cards. We needed to get them food. We needed to get them basically everything that we need in order to live. But they want to go to work. They're asking me, how can I work? What can I do? And we don't have the permits. And that's what we need to emphasize for the U.S. government to start doing, and another thing I want to talk about is the planes that we need. We really need the planes from U.S. and Europe to be delivered to Ukraine, because this will save us. Because this genocide that's going on right now is it's not okay these days. They killing our mothers and children. It's not just men. It's terrible, and we really need to protect our skies.
Well, just so viewers, if you don't know out there, over the last 12 or 14 to really 17 days, the European Union and the federal government in the United States, as well as member NATO states, have been going back and forth about whether or not they're going to provide aid to the Ukrainians, in addition to the small arms and rockets and missiles that they're providing in the form of MiG fighters that the former Warsaw countries inherited now that they're free, and that the United States would then give them F-15s at some sort of reduced rate to replace them, because the Ukrainian fighters, fighter jet pilots, are trained on the MiGs. So that's what Oksana was talking about. I think it's really important. And also people need to be aware that this is one of the largest humanitarian refugee crises the world has ever seen. There's already over 3 million Ukrainians in Eastern Europe, in countries other than Ukraine, and that's not including the people that are internally displaced by the war.
Just because people did not want to believe that this would happen. We've been free for 31 years. We had open borders. We had, we were going towards democracy. We were trying to eliminate all the corruption and stuff. So our people, educated, they traveled the world and had everything. So, it's just... It was surreal for them. Nobody wanted to leave. They were very comfortable in our land and very happy there.
Well, I'm so glad you were here with us, Oksana. I hope we'll have you back when we have something positive to say about the Ukrainian victory against Putin's dictatorship.
Let's bring some families. Let's bring some families here.
Yeah, thank you so much. Thank you to our viewers for watching. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.
Peter Biancamano back with you. Don't forget to watch us on cable access every Sunday and Monday at 9 a.m. Optimum Channel 18, Fios Channel 46, and Comcast Channel 190. Also on Sunday mornings at 9:30 a.m., you can watch our show on our YouTube channel, and you can also binge watch all of our old shows. Who doesn't want to keep watching The Pulse with Peter B? We'll see you there. Welcome back to The Pulse. Peter Biancamano back in the host chair. And we all know you have your eyes glued to your television sets this weekend for March Madness. It is a sports fan's dream come true this week with all the college basketball games going on. But pro wrestling fans out there, we did not forget about you, because your Super Bowl is coming up, and that is, of course, WrestleMania 38. And we're joined by none other than our pro wrestling insider, Mr. Rob Tonnesen, to give us all the deets regarding the extravaganza. Rob, how are you today, sir?
Ayo.
Ayo.
I had to do that. A little bit of a RIP, rest in peace, to the original bad guy, Scott Hall. Had to give a little thing right there. And really, someone that does not get the recognition for what he did to the boys in changing the business.
Absolutely. Razor Ramon, as he was famously known in the WWE, and of course, his real life name, as they say, is Mr. Scott Hall. 46 years old? Did I see that correctly?
No, God, we're 63.
No way.
Yeah, 63.
Wow, that's how bad my math was. But still, very young.
Yes.
Too soon, yes. as they say. So, we are going to break this up, Rob, regarding WrestleMania 38 into 2 weeks. You will be back next week on the show to talk about day 2 of WrestleMania. But today we want to start with day 1. The WWE started doing these 2-day pay-per-views, I believe at the beginning of COVID, if I'm not mistaken, and they are continuing to do so.
Yes, WrestleMania started as 2 nights. It was WrestleMania 36, which was in the Performance Center. No fans, no nothing at the beginning of COVID in April of 2020. And then last year, when it was in Tampa Bay, where it was supposed to be, they brought back the fans, had 2 nights. This year, they decided on 2 nights again. And, I'm going to be very critical of the product today. I don't think they needed 2 nights. Looking at the card, looking at everything they've got, it doesn't. WrestleMania sells itself, just like the Super Bowl. I'm a Jets fan, so I have not cared about football in decades. But I'll still watch the Super Bowl. I still watched, the Rams and the Bengals. I didn't know who was in it. I didn't know any of the storylines, but it's the Super Bowl. Like you said, the wrestling version of the Super Bowl. It sells itself.
Interesting.
But the fact of the matter is that you look at this card, and we'll go through it bit by bit, but you don't have a lot of the key players in matches so far this year, and we're 2 weeks out. You don't have Seth Rollins with a match. You don't have Asuka with a match. You don't have Randy Orton or Riddle. You don't have Damian Priest, Ricochet. Wow. I could go down the list, and Ricochet and Finn Balor are your two champions, and they don't have matches yet.
Very, very interesting. Well, and it was funny. You and I were talking before the segment started, and we said that, and I was looking at the matches you gave me for the first night, and why don't we begin with a match that I feel like has happened over and over and over again. It's being shoved down our throats, which is Charlotte Flair versus Rowdy Ronda Rousey, coming back from having a child. So, who do you like in this match, Rob?
Regrettably, I am going to go with Ronda, and I have no problems with Ronda. I have nothing wrong with her. She loves the business. If she wants to be there, let her be there. But at the same time, it's this is a WrestleMania where it's gonna pay off next year when they're in LA, and I'll sort of sprinkle in facts about why this one matters. But I definitely see Ronda winning the SmackDown Women's Championship, beating Charlotte Flair, just to get to where they want to go, even though they could get there a lot faster. Taking a year to get to Ronda versus Becky, which is where they want to go for next year, probably, just seems like they're taking their time. So Ronda winning the Rumble was fine, and then her going on to face Charlotte, it's one of those things that you could have done it in Saudi Arabia. You could have done it at WrestleMania Backlash. Ronda versus Becky is the match. To save it for WrestleMania 39 in Los Angeles just does not. It's one of those things where it's, why do it now?
Well, let's go to the other match, the other women's match, I should say, on the night 1 of WrestleMania. And I think this has a little more intrigue because Bianca Belair is really coming along. She's really getting a push, going against Becky Lynch, who's doing a fabulous job of being a heel, correct? Who do you like in this one?
Once again, I'm going to go with Becky because of the fact that if they're gonna do Ronda versus Becky, which is how they're gonna do it in 1 year's time, to have it doesn't make sense for Bianca to win. Even though I love Bianca, I love Becky, it's the winners of the first 2 women's Mania main events. Have them go at it. I just feel that it's going to be Becky versus Ronda in 1 year's time.
Very, very interesting. Now, moving on, we do have the Mysterios. I guess here is your celebrity aspect of WrestleMania.
Oh, there's more than
that. What was that?
Night 2, there's going to be more celebrities.
Absolutely. Of night 1, I should
Yes.
say. Yeah, and it's the Mysterios, as I mentioned, Ray and Dominic, his son, who I think they're shoving down our throats as well. But listen, the kid has done amicable work, and I think that he's proven his opportunity at the grandest stage of them all, which is WrestleMania. Taking on The Miz, a former reality TV star, and of course, Logan Paul, your celebrity on night 1. I know you're a huge fan of Logan Paul. How do you think he's going to do in the wrestling ring, sir?
Logan Paul was at last year's WrestleMania. I know I mentioned it last time I was on when I talked about last year's WrestleMania in Tampa. I give Logan Paul credit. Logan Paul's been doing a really, really fine job on the program. This is another year where I think the Mysterios are going to win, only because I desperately want that classic father versus son. I would absolutely love to see Dominic turn
his back
on Ray and have that storyline. I absolutely think that Dominic, if he isn't going to do that, would be better in NXT 2.0.
Very, very interesting. Okay. And then here is a match that I know why you like it, because it is a pure wrestling match from the absolute sense of the word. And that is Drew McIntyre facing Happy Corbin, as they say. These are two slugfest guys that would meet earlier this week in a bar on St. Patrick's Day. Who do you like in this one?
It's got to be Drew. It's got to be Drew. Nothing against...
Pure athletes, though, correct?
Yeah, I'd say that.
Okay.
I can't believe you're making me say Happy Corbin on television, but I mean, he's an athlete. He's good. He is what he is, but that should just be all Drew and 5 minutes, no less.
Very, very interesting. Okay, now, you spoke about this at the beginning of the segment. You spoke about the lack of star appeal at WrestleMania. So what did they do? They called up a person probably in his 50s, maybe even close to his 60s, and that is, of course, the legendary Stone Cold Steve Austin to come to night 1 of WrestleMania to do a confrontation with Kevin Owens. This is just all a gimmick, you think?
It's going to be a complete talk show. It's absolutely going to be a talk show. Steve Austin has not wrestled in 19 years. Mm-hmm. If you do the math, 19 years was his last match. And Kevin Owens has been a big fan. Kevin Owens has been on record saying that stuff that Austin has said has influenced his career greatly. And it's basically going to be my stunner's better than your stunner. My stunner's this, my stunner's that. Austin's going to show up, stun Kevin Owens, and that be it.
And that's it.
That's it.
And fans will go home happy.
Exactly. It's in Dallas. That's where he's from. Go nuts.
Well, Rob Tonnesen, our pro wrestling insider, here on the Pulse, talking about night 1 of WrestleMania. Tune in next week. Rob will be here again, maybe with the same NWO shirt. Who knows? Talking about night 2. And I'm sure you're excited to come back then.
I am always excited to come back. Whenever you want me to sit in the host chair, just let me know.
Look at that. He wants it to be called the Pulse with Rob T.
It's got a nice ring to it.
I think so.
Yeah.
Exactly. Thanks again, brother.
No, my pleasure.
We'll see you next week. Folks, join us next week for the Pulse on everything you need to know. And do not forget, folks, on Saturday, March 26th, over at the Colo Club is our Chomboard Fire fundraiser. You're going to want to visit us there and buy a ticket for a good cause. I'm Peter Biancamano. I hope you have a great week, everybody. Take care.